I'm wondering, what shall I make for supper tonight? What shall I make for supper tonight? What should I make? Ah, I have an idea. There we go. Risotto. And not just risotto. Risotto with crab meat. Mmm. Now, I know many of you will panic at the word risotto. No, it's so difficult to make. Let me show you how to make it. It's easier than you thought. And I'll tell you the lies they've all been telling you along the way. Why don't you join me? Let's go. To start, we're going to start with the seafood stock. And this is from Bar Harbor, and if you've ever had it, I highly recommend, or if you haven't had it, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic product. I think you'll love it. And this one has got fish and lobster stock, wild Atlantic haddock, lobster, onions, carrots, etc., etc. So we need to start the stock about half an hour before we do the risotto. We need to heat it up so that it's when we pour the stock into the risotto, it doesn't cool it down. In other words, you want the stock at about the same temperature as the risotto that you're making. Okay, so here we go. Oh, it smells good. And the reason I'm using a sieve is in case there were any solids, then I would separate them out over here and pour them in later into the risotto. But it's all liquid, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay. So we've got that. I'm just going to add some water. So here we go. I've put in a total of the 1 can of seafood stock and 1.5 cans of water. So that's going to make about 1,000 milliliters, 1 liter of water. So we'll move this to the back burner. We'll set it on just a little bit higher than low and let it go. See you in a bit. Our ingredients. We've got 1 cup of rice. We're going to use a little bit of butter, not very much. This is a very heavy grass-fed organic butter, and it's very, very rich, so we don't need that much, but usually 2 tablespoons will do us, but I think we'll go with 1.5. A little bit of Parmesan cheese at the end. Of course, we need a good olive oil, and we're going to need some white wine to start the exercise just after we've toasted the rice. Toasted the rice? What do you mean by that? I'll show you. So first things first, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's enough. And we're going to let that heat up for a moment. Well, the olive oil is just, I don't know if you can see it, it's just starting to shimmer, which is a good sign. Holding my hand over, that's good also. I'll turn down the heat to medium, and then I'll put the rice inside. And what I'm going to do is, like I said earlier, basically, I don't know if toasting is the right word, but it's the word I'm going to use. We'll do this for a couple of minutes. Get it nicely coated with the olive oil, number 1. And what we're going to look for, if they start turning brown, it's too much. So you don't want that. But what you want to look for is that the little rice kernels, is that what you call them, start to turn clear on the ends. And And then you would be ready for the next step, which I'll prepare now. One-third of a cup of white wine. Put a bit of a shock to the system, if you will. Also adds a little bit of a nice citrusy. I'm sure you've heard that it takes 18 minutes to make risotto. They lied. They lied to you. Because if you're like most of us, you assume cooking time starts by when you add the olive oil in and go from there. But no, they don't count that at all. They don't count this roasting time. Their time starts when you add liquid. And I think we're there. So time to add that liquid. There we go. Hopefully I don't overheat my camera and shut it off automatically. So now the wine has been absorbed. We're going to take now what you want to do is add just enough to cover the rice, like so. And this is also what you want, some nice gentle bubbles, making sure you stir all the time. The other thing I think you've noticed is that I'm cooking it in a pot, as opposed to most people or many people cook it in a fry pan. But better method is to do it in a pot, retains the heat better, and that's critical for a good risotto. That's why we heated up the stock earlier, so it wouldn't cool down the rice whenever we poured in the stock. You want a nice consistent heat. Constantly stir. Now the other thing they say about 18 minutes is to cook it so that it's al dente, meaning firm or to the tooth. Firm and crunchy. Now, since I don't know about you, I don't like paying the dentist more visits than I need to with cracked teeth. I usually cook it for about 5 minutes longer, so it's softer. They'll talk, well, it turns glutinous, it's not good. Nah, it's fine. Well, it's up to you. As you can see, the rice is absorbing, and we're also, liquid level is going down. Time to add a little bit more. Gently, gently. Now, you're probably asking, well, why can't I just dump all the stock in and then just cook it? And you know what? You probably could. The thing of it is, though, you won't know if you're going to have too much stock or water left over at the end when the risotto is cooked. And that you don't want. You don't want a soup. Well, I've just added in another ladle. We've used a bit of the stock, about maybe 1/3. So you may be hearing some noise in the background. One is the exhaust fan going from the stove, and the other is Anna making a salad in the background, which is normal kitchen noise. Anna, who to my dying day I will say makes the best salads in the entire universe. It's true. So anyways, if there's too much background noise, especially with the fan, I may end up overdubbing this, so we'll see what happens. You may notice me going back and forth like this. That's what you want to see, that when you scrape, that the rice still flows back to where you've scraped through. This is a slightly better description of what I was talking about. You see how the rice and the liquids are still coming back together? If it doesn't, it means it's too dry and you either are done or you need to add more stock. So here it is at the infamous 18 minutes. So let's see what we have with my tasting spoon. Oh, broke my tooth. Yeah, not that bad. Maybe 3 or 4 more minutes. Add the crab meat now. I'm a little bit ambivalent about crab meat because it's delicious, but it's also extremely mild or neutral tasting. There really isn't that much flavor to it. So we'll have to see what happens. That's why I have the Parmesan cheese, just to add a bit of a bite. And a little bit of salt that comes with the cheese. So this is 21 minutes. Yep. So what we're going to do now is we're almost there. So we're going to add the butter. There we go. And we're going to add, I think, just 1.5 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Final taste test at 23 minutes. Just turn it. And it's right. It's just perfect. Okay. Now we're ready. Now we're ready to plate. Well, everyone, here's the finished product. As you can see, I'm not an Instagram influencer. If I were, we would have the risotto on a flat plate with garnishment all around, looking like a work of art, a Picasso. But it's in a bowl because A, it keeps the product warmer, the rice warmer, and it keeps it warmer longer. And that to me is more important. So anyways, this is it. It's delicious, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Take care.